or make their own play dates, which is something we're actually still working on at our house, they gain that great part of childhood, which is the I did it myself moment.
And it's the I did it myself moment that we're making rounds on today. Yep, the reclaiming of your adulthood and letting your kids claim their childhood. Joining me today to make rounds, Nancy Gibbs, Times editor-at-large, who wrote a terrific cover story this week, The Case Against Overparenting, and she is also a mom qualified. And child psychologist and parenting expert and mom, Denise Daniels. Denise, great to see you again. Nancy, great to have you in the studio again.
Good morning.
This is a great article, and I just have to say the opening sentence rings true for so many of us. The insanity crept up on us. It did. You and I didn't grow up like this.
No, and parents, of course, always have and always will want what's best for their children. This isn't about people being bad parents. This is just whether or not our definition of what good parenting involved maybe got out of whack along the way.
And helicopter parents, we've been described by a lot of school teachers, want to disassemble the helicopter. People want out of this model.
At some point, it was Dr. Spock, 3 generations ago practically, who said parents should feel confident to trust their instincts. I think a lot of parents have had the instinct that all of this hovering, all of this, the overscheduling, the unwillingness to let their children just go out and play, the importance of imaginative play for children's psychological and social development is so well established, and yet, our busy modern lives had made that more difficult. And all of the experts telling us that we ought to be teaching our children Mandarin when they turn 2 years old made parents feel like they were being somehow irresponsible if they were not doing all this for their children.
And Denise, if this 24/7 news cycle has made it seem to most kids and a lot of parents that there is a sexual predator waiting around every corner.
That's right. That's right. And I think we really have to, there's a fine line that we walk. We want to give our kids information, and we want to empower our kids so they're not afraid and they know what to do if they get in an uncomfortable situation. But it's critical that we let kids have some space and let them take care of themselves at times and not put so much pressure on. We want to be sure that we're supportive, but not too pushy.
And Nancy and I were speaking before we went on camera. I grew up in the Midwest. She grew up in Manhattan, but both of our mothers basically said, get out of the house. We had the freedom to be outside. I'm not so sure that freedom exists anymore.
No, and it's really interesting because, Nancy, you're a scientist. I'm a pediatric nurse by background, so I understand the psychosocial part of this. And we've seen kids come in that are so stressed out with psychosomatic problems. They've got tummy aches, they've got, they have an inability to sleep at night, they may have headaches because they're being pushed so hard. And very well-meaning parents go awry just because they have fears that their child isn't going to be able to compete in a global economy, in a global world. And so we need to back off as parents. We need to let kids be kids. We need to let them play. I'm such a proponent of play because there's hard science that actually says that the neurotransmitters in a kid's brain really need to have that rest. Kids are more creative, they explore, they discover, and those are the gifts we can give our children. They're the most important gifts.
The way out of this, Nancy?
Well, one is to sort of have the hard conversation with yourself and look at your child and your family rather than, what the experts outside might be telling you. I think that every parent knows their child and their situation best and knows what they're ready for. And if your kid is a passionate flute player or soccer player, then yes, it's fine for them to